Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is Tuesday, March 23rd, and we thank you for joining us once again. If you haven't noticed, the start of the new Mario Kart race is going on behind Ryan as we all go into this happy trading day. And yes, somebody asked us, I think VeChain is going to $1, folks. Just wanted to with me is Ryan, the best hair in crypto, as well as CJ and Monty from marketrebellion.com. And as I had mentioned yesterday, we're going to do the big boards today, and then we're going to discuss Cardano, ADA, and what exactly our thoughts are with what happened with the Coinbase listing, because there was no Coinbase effect really to that listing, and people are scratching their heads why. So hang on tight with us. Ryan, take it away.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alex. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain is strictly for informational and educational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice, especially not that Gollum chart. So do not listen to anything you hear us say. Nothing at all. Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global 24/7 community of traders across 23 time zones. That's all of them. There's no one in that 24th time zone. And they're of all ages, all abilities, all skill levels, all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market. If you too want to trade like a crypto insider and you're not yet a member of Trade the Chain, go to TradeTheChain.com for a 14-day trial and check out that bearish hourly sentiment.
Oh, and we got a big announcement. Not big, I'm just hyping that up. Our good friend Danish Chaudhry, head of Bitcoin.com exchange, will once again be in our members only Discord server this coming Friday evening, where we will once again be giving out crypto for free. It was fun. The last time we had windows like this, like we do here, and people would hold up their QR code, and I would hold up my phone. I'd send them crypto, send a bunch of people free crypto. It was fun. Anyway, sorry about that.
Will Danish be in Puerto Rico with us?
Danish, he will not be in Puerto Rico. He will be residing in his home Caribbean island that he lives in, but will not be joining us. No.
I thought he was considering. That's a shame.
Thank you for your generous announcement, Alex, man of the people, as always. Like we've said on here many times before. Moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself in our community. With us, you get exclusive access to trade ideas on a weekly basis, our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. You can start your first month trial for just $1 right here at marketrebellion.com/crypto. We appreciate that, guys. We got a mobile app as well. Having a lot of people join the community, though. I think on Sunday, we had over 20 signups in one day. A lot of people coming in on the chat, so we really appreciate that. But yeah, any starting words before we hit the big boards, gentlemen?
Yes, you know I love to interrupt. I want to say congrats, guys, to the velocity you guys are getting over there, and you know, hopefully a ton of fruitful days ahead over there at marketrebellion.com. So thank you for updating us.
Yeah, congrats on that. And I'm rooting for Donkey Kong in this race behind me. Let's see how it shapes up.
All right, on to the Bitcoin charts. We've had an interesting day, namely because we are hitting some of these critical levels here. One thing I want to highlight, oh, my bad, have the Gollum chart up. Let me bring up the Bitcoin chart for us real quick.
Very subtle shill there, CJ. Well done.
Yeah, this guy.
So what we have here is a bounce off of support at the critical level of 54K. This is a level I'm going to watch very carefully. It's a level that we must hold because it was our previous higher low for the macro trend. You know, we want to see that stay. You want to see that bullish momentum be able to stay at this level. Now, the one thing that's very interesting that I definitely encourage you guys and our viewers watching to check this out going forward is a website by the name of Whale Map. Whale Map, John showed us this morning, but it can tell us essentially when a large amount of whales step into the market who have more than 1,000 coins in their wallet, or at least big players. So if you see this, you get an idea of where these bubbles actually occurred and where a lot of whales stepped into the market on these declines. So you can see the last time we had a major level of support step in, that was at that 54 to 55K region. So that's going to be a very important level for the macro trend to hold, like I said. One thing on the weekly chart that's a little concerning that I want to point to is the fact that we've been closing below this top Bollinger Band. We've been kind of turning over a little bit, and we got our first red one candle on the weekly chart last week. It's just not the most bullish posture you'd want to see. I'm completely neutral at this point in time. I think the 54K level is very essential to hold for the trend to remain strong and to guard against an ultimate retrace to the 50K level or even the 45K level. I don't think we're going there. I think it's essential that we hold this level of where the whales came in. But as of now, I'm kind of neutral. I want to wait. The one thing I do want to say in terms of StormX and VGX, because we have a lot of commentary on that, is that I'm not buying either of those currently. I hate buying weakness just for the sake of buying weakness. I see a lot of people from the traditional markets who are just used to buying dips because they're not used to 40 to 60% corrections. They're just buying StormX relentlessly because it's falling. Well, like I said, I don't buy weakness just for the sake of buying weakness. I think it was Baron Rothschild in the early 20th century, one of those Rothschilds, but he goes, I'll tell you the secret to my success in the markets. And it is this: I never buy the bottom and I always sell too soon. And that makes sense, right? But what that means is that I want to see some upward momentum, some bullish momentum stepping in before we just have this continued sell pressure coming from things like VGX and like StormX, because we see sometimes 60% corrections in some of these altcoins. In those particular two, we're only down 40% thus far. So I'm going to wait for a kickback and a rebound before I decide to accumulate any further.
Yes,
I have a question. I was wondering, why is it like in yesterday's episode, you can't remember the second half of a comment, but you can, like a Snapple bottle top, remember all these quotes from these old literary like financial geniuses?
Let's not go into my personal life, Alex. That's for you got to pay for the premium package to get that one. So
one question I have that shouldn't fall into the premium package. We know you're not buying StormX. We know you're not buying VGX. What are you buying? What are you looking at right now? Where do you see opportunity?
Or are you just holding tight?
Yeah, no, I'm just watching pitches go by. The beautiful thing about markets is that you can watch as many pitches as you want. You can watch, Bitcoin at 50,000 come right down the middle, and you don't have to swing until you see something that you can rip out of the park. And what I think that is if Bitcoin goes to its new highs, if we see a strong bullish move and we get to the 60 level, I'm going to be looking at GLM. And I think that's going to be a very large meatball that back in my baseball days, if it was like 2-0, I would look to rip that one into the right field corner for like a double or a triple, because when we get to those all-time highs, we see interesting things come. And I think Gollum is in prime position for that. But we have to have Bitcoin get some bullish momentum first.
I agree with you. I agree with you on the GLM, and I want to say spring must be in the air over there in the Midwest.
So something Dennis said in this morning's research note for Trade the Chain that I thought was compelling. We're based on futures positioning. We're on the verge of a maximum pain scenario in Bitcoin, right? Which, we're not going to see a massive drop or a massive rise, right? We'll just kind of trade down the middle, and we'll trade flat, or at least relatively flat, almost anemic, for the foreseeable future. What do you think the likelihood is of that?
I actually don't think that's very likely, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I kind of wanted to take a step back and look at the macro perspective a little bit. Okay. And I guess while we're deep in the baseball analogy, I just kind of want to figure out what inning we're in this bull run. And I think we're still early. I think we're only in the 5th or 6th inning. And one thing that I think is a super valuable tool for telling where we're at in the market cycle and for telling where the money is going is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So we talk a lot about Bitcoin dominance and how important it is for gauging the health of the markets and where people are just speculating right now. And if we look back at the chart for Bitcoin, this line right here was when Bitcoin dominance peaked. So that was the 2nd of January right here. And you can see since then, Bitcoin dominance has been declining. But Bitcoin has still been showing very strong bullish price action. So that implies that people are pouring money into the space, not only into Bitcoin, but into other assets. And when I look at this chart, I think that there's a very strong price floor or dominance floor here around 60. We're hitting this TD sequential 9. It's a bit of a doji candle as well, and is looking indicative of a reversal or at least of a flatlining around this point. But even if this point is broken right here, I don't necessarily think that would be bearish for the space. I think that would just imply that the alts are getting all the speculation and Bitcoin is really getting none. So to answer your question, Ryan, I think that anemic price action for Bitcoin could happen if the Bitcoin dominance continues to drop, because that would be indicative of the fact that traders are speculating on lower cap alts like we've seen retail traders historically do. So for me, it's kind of encouraging that we're kind of bottoming out here on Bitcoin dominance in a sense, but price is still going strong. So I think that as we continue to see some of these assets kind of level out after some tremendous upswings, like we're seeing with StormX or like we're seeing with VeChain or some other assets that went parabolic in the last 2 weeks due to retail money, when that starts flowing back into Bitcoin and this dominance chart starts to rebound, I think that will really provide some nice ignition for Bitcoin to possibly break above 62K. So a couple different ways you can look at the Bitcoin dominance, but I think it's definitely important to keep as a factor going forward.
Bitcoin's exchange traded volume has been, flat for the most part. It hasn't really been too high, too low. It's about the same level as it was when it reached its December peak. Do you think that's because a lot of people are unsure, a lot of traders are unsure, and they're sitting on the sidelines, sitting this one out, spitting on a fastball off the outside corner, as CJ would do? Or do you think it's just they're more interested in altcoins right now because they see more opportunity there?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, right? I think the price has gone up despite that lack of exchange volume because institutions are still buying it up and driving the price up. But the retail speculation on Bitcoin hasn't really been there. I think it's just been focused on the alts.
Very cool. All right, I want to hop into our conversation of the day now, and that has to do around Cardano, ticker ADA, getting listed on Coinbase. And one of the things that I want to touch upon is, at Trade the Chain, we actually, one part of our trading alerts and stuff is actually focused on new listing alerts and trading what's known as the Coinbase effect. And the Coinbase effect came into a terminology world from every time Coinbase would list a new coin, it would shoot up remarkably based on the fact that it was being listed at Coinbase. That's how the Coinbase effect came to be. So when Cardano was going, one of the things, everybody wanted Cardano to be listed on Coinbase. They couldn't wait. Months were going by. And it was actually at that point when I kind of, self-admittedly got a little news fatigued of Cardano solving Ethereum world problems and stuff. And I was like, okay, so the next thing that I'm looking forward to is a Coinbase listing. Let's go. Yeah. Let's bag that up and go for this thing. But then it happened. Started out with Coinbase Pro, and then it went to regular Coinbase. It's regular listing Coinbase, and not much excitement happened. And so I want to share a few things real quickly before we go ahead. And that is, here is a report done by eToro and Vitai on the Coinbase effect. And we'll put this in the description below for anybody who wants to read it. It's a lot of pages. But here's a really interesting graph. And so this center line represents the day it gets listed on Coinbase. And so to the left of it is leading up into it, and to the right is afterwards. Now, one thing, folks, you got to understand with new listings on exchanges is that if they do have a profound bounce up in a sudden bullish move, the tick down is going to be just as hard. When this thing starts ticking down off of pump on a listing, it is going to fall, and it's going to fall with dramatic style most of the time.
There's a name for this, Alex. I think Peter Brandt calls that the popcorn trade, right? Like you just pops and then it right back down. But Bitcoin Cash needs to be on that chart. Bitcoin Cash was one of the most epic Coinbase effect listings we've ever seen. I think it went up about 200%, if not 300%, when that occurred in 2017. But sorry to interrupt.
No. I mean, it's probably why Bitcoin Cash exists today. So going back to, I don't want Roger calling us. So here's a graph you can see I have up called Coinbase listings without announcements. And you have this first column, which shows performance on the listing day and next day performance. Now, I mean, look at DNT, but you could see that performance on listing day, it's almost a gimme. And that's why it's such an actionable alert when you have these exchanges, these popular exchanges listing stuff, because you could have, let's say CeeLo, and you're like, hey, CeeLo's being listed on Coinbase. And you're like, okay, I'll throw $1,000 at it, and boom, up 47.5%. And then the minute it ticks down, you dump it. Here are ones with announcements for pre-listing. NMR, 189%. Performance from announcement to listing. Performance on listing date. Next day performance. You can see that next day performance after listing. It's like a slaughterhouse. So that's why it's such a quick trade. But anyway, guys, I want your opinions on what you guys think happened and why ADA is not sitting at $8 to $10 right now from being listed.
Didn't it pop up a bit when it was first announced on Coinbase Pro? Maybe that's...
CJ, could you pull up the chart,
yeah,
ADA, please, on the marketrebellion.com Ops Center, please?
Because I think when it was first announced on Coinbase Pro, it went up a bit, but not nearly as much as some of those other projects. And I think, much to some of our community members' discontent, it might just be because no one's building on Cardano. And it's sure there are some projects, but like it's not the amount that people are building on Ethereum. And when you have Uniswap announcing that all these scaling solutions level 2 scaling solutions are going to be integrated into V3 of Uniswap, it kind of obviates Cardano if their goal is to reduce the pain points on the Ethereum blockchain.
Well, first of all, Ryan, I can't wait to look at the comments after that comment, okay? I mean, I hope Richard wasn't listening.
I'll be sipping a Diet Coke with my painted nails through my metal straw.
But CJ, you just pulled up the chart and you can see that dramatic rise and that dramatic fall.
Yeah.
Why no sustainability on this particular project?
I think for the points that Ryan just mentioned. I mean, granted, there are certain projects building on Cardano, but to none of the significance when you compare it with something like Ethereum or even Chainlink or Polkadot. Yeah, I think people just assume that Cardano is going to be around because, they quote Charles Hoskinson because of the leadership and things of that sort. But like, I feel like people are disappointed when they talk about Ethereum not moving to proof of stake and not implementing Ethereum 2.0. But like Cardano doesn't have any type of that development or news going on. They're lurking in the shadows, and I'm sure there's a lot of traders who made a lot of money on this run up, but we see pretty significant corrections once the bubble is popped on the interim runs in a lot of these altcoins.
Well, so what does the future hold then? Are you saying that there's really, unless something dramatic happens, there's no big upside on it?
Well, I wouldn't say that there's not big upside on it. I just think that it's kind of lost its like flavor of the month type run. You know what I mean? Like we had it with VGX, we had it with StormX, we have it with many others. And Cardano just got lumped in. It was a large market cap coin. It was a significant had news event going on. It was being listed on Coinbase, which is pretty far long overdue in my opinion. But it's just, you know, it's not bringing anything of substance that we're actually using. At least people are using stable coins. They're using Uniswap. They're using all of these DEXs. We're just not seeing any of the activity on Cardano like that.
Well, it does have Hoskinson's Twitter account. That's got some entertainment value.
And that's the other thing. People always say bet on people, and we should bet on Charles Hoskinson. Like, I get that the guy's a smart guy, but like in terms of business relationships and the thing that he told an individual on Twitter earlier today, like it's not the most professional thing. I wouldn't want, like if I was a board member and had a CEO doing that, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Like we're trying to build a company here.
There's a certain exchange executive that'll go unnamed in this episode who was shouting and cursing at the world on Twitter not too long ago either, and they're still considered a top trading venue. So I mean, it's not unusual for this industry for people to act that way.
And there goes Ryan taking the other side of this conversation once again.
I never thought you would be an advocate for like, you know, the degenerate nature of crypto participants.
No. I'm absolutely not an advocate for it.
I'm not even better.
No, I'm not an advocate for it. But like, I even had to walk away from a client at one point because of that type of behavior. Very high profile client, by the way. But I'm not an advocate for it, but that doesn't mean it's unusual, right? And a lot of that behavior, when I work with firms, I work to try and rein that in and make it more professional. So the traditional investors and pensions and endowments and VCs and people who are not from crypto or blockchain, that wall of money everyone's expecting to come in that we're still holding our breath for and turning blue in the face, they don't come in until all of this nonsense stops, right? So absolutely, I'm not an advocate for it. It's not unusual.
Glad we got that straightened out.
Thanks, CJ.
I think Monty's quitting officially.
Monty has checked out. He's watching the race behind me. By the way,
exactly. I'm watching Mario Kart. It's entertaining.
Donkey Kong came in dead last in that race that I picked him to win. Just like the markets, I can't even pick a winning Mario Kart racer.
So just to end this this part of the programming, folks, here is a list of other exchanges, and it's showing performance of the listing 1 hour after the listing, 1 day after the listing, and 1 week after the listing. And you can see that majority of them are positive. So the Coinbase effect is a positive trade to people and to various things. Cardano, it just wasn't meant to be the long-term price hold, for that. So we'll see where it goes from now. I can't wait to read the comments. This is day 2 of Bear Week, obviously, even though we tried to turn it around in the beginning. But yeah, I don't know where we go from here, folks. Anybody else have anything?
We go to Puerto Rico, Alex, from here.
What's that?
Tomorrow we go to Puerto Rico from here.
We do go to Puerto Rico, folks. So with that, I do want to say that there will be no episode of Trade the Chain daily tomorrow. Instead, we will have a Trade the Chain roundtable episode with the folks over at Gnosis, a DEX. So you do get that in-flight entertainment from us, at least.
If you'd like to watch Monty and I, we will be on the Daily Crypto Bites, Market Rebellion, Twitter, and YouTube. One thing I do want to add as well to the conversation, because while, self-proclaimed bear week, I guess what I said yesterday, this is very bullish. I just saw this coming from Willie. Check out these charts about how many long-term holders are actually buying these dips. That is quite impressive. When you look at that
Hmm.
blue line, that's pretty steep. And then when you look at the long-term holders and the individuals who just bought that dip, you see that is very steep as well. So very similar to kind of the whale alerts or the whale map website I was checking out earlier. We're seeing those buyers step in at the 54K level as of now. So that's pretty positive.
Yeah, but it also, it's. I'm surprised that it's interesting that Willie Willie Woo is. I do like his stuff. I know you love his stuff, CJ. He has good analyses that come out. But it's interesting because that just supports exactly what you've been saying. In the beginning of the episode. So very cool. All right, guys. Unless there's anything breaking or a deathly car accident on that TV behind Ryan, we're going to call it a day. Don't forget to check out Gollum. We did mention it a couple times in the show, GLM ticker. It's interesting.
Not yet though, because Alex hasn't got his bags yet. So just give it a couple days.
Wow.
Man of the people, Alex Mascioli.
Wow. So, just to recap Gollum real quickly, the 30-day, it's up 30%. It's up 26.5% over the last 7 days and nearly 6% over the last 24 hours. So it looks like sentiment's building behind it. And when you have relative trading volume up 154%, CJ might be onto something here.
I think CJ may be onto something, no matter how much he shakes his head like this. We'll see. I mean, Gollum has come up a few times in the past, and I think it might be a relevant project. We will reach out to the folks over at GLM and see if they want to come on so we can break them down. Let me ask a question between you guys. One of the things that somebody said put out to me in social media, and I found it interesting, and I'm going to do this depending on the answers, is what if we all did an episode with Simon Yu from StormX and Steve Ehrlich from Voyager on at the same time? What would happen then? And is it a good idea?
We should do an episode where we should get all these guys together and like have them pitch all their altcoins to us, and whoever's the best, we invest. Shark Tank style.
Shark Tank style. I like that, CJ. Definitely. All right, we'll get the Golem guy on, whether he wants to or not. Folks, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for for treating us with kid gloves as we go through this week. I know yesterday might have been very traumatic after you watched that episode, but we appreciate you watching us anyway. And we will see you Thursday for our next one. Don't forget, Gnosis episode tomorrow, pre-recorded. And hang on to your handlebars. Happy trading, and thank you very much. We'll see you later.